Hello and welcome back for another day of stock Ableton Effects and 30 days of Ableton plugins. Today is day 5. We'll be looking at the EQ8 audio effect. This is probably one of the most commonly used audio manipulation utilities in Ableton, and for good reason. It's very flexible and easy to use. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look. For this, you don't need to turn it off to see what it's not doing, since right now it's not affecting the audio signal at all. I just have an operator here with 2 voices. But as you start to manipulate this, you can hear it shaping the signal. So in essence, what EQ8 is allowing you to do is to shape the audio signal and sculpt it. This is a 8 parametric EQ, so you have additional checkboxes down here to turn on additional EQ points. By default, it only is enabled with 4, right there. The frequency affected by the filter here is controlled by the x-axis. So if I click on one of these and move the frequency, you can see it moves around left and right. You can also drag it and it affects that knob. The amount of gain is determined by the y-axis, which if we drag the gain up and down, you'll see that that moves up and down, which is either a gain reduction or a gain boost. The resonance is controlled with the Q knob here. So if we do a little bit of gain, actually let's do it on one of these, and we turn up the Q, you can see it makes it sharper or more gradual for the Q value. For each parametric EQ filter, you can also modify the type of filter, which is selected from this drop down here, to a band pass, low pass, high pass. On the right over here, there's output settings and additional controls. The headphones, which is called Audition Mode, this little headphone icon, allows you to audition specific areas of the audio spectrum to see how that is affecting the part of the signal. So for instance, if we're boosting this signal here and we click the headphone, when you grab the knob, the little numbered dot here, you hear only that part of the spectrum. It's very useful to understand what you're doing to the audio in that portion. The spectrum button next to the headphones shows and hides the display area. So essentially what this does is you will not get any updates of the audio spectrum. You can see it there, and this turns it off. The mode drop-down allows you to EQ stereo, left, right there, or mid-side EQ modes independently. The edit button shows what channel is currently being edited. So for instance, in left-right mode, we can select between left and right, and for mid-side, we go between side and mid. The adaptive Q scales the EQ by that amount for all the filters that support gain, which is everything but low cut, notch, and high cut. So you can see here how that affects. Essentially what this is doing is it's scaling of this Q value. And this gain slider is a global gain to raise or lower the output sound after EQing. You can hear it getting louder there. And then the scale allows you to, essentially you could see it as zooming in on your EQ. makes it more drastic or less drastic. There's also several right-click options. Oversampling allows for smoother filter behavior as it processes audio sound 2 times. It's going to be hard to tell the difference, but it's basically looping the audio back through the EQ again. Sometimes people will have multiple EQs to do this, which is essentially the same thing as the oversampling there, except you can modify it if you have multiple EQs with different settings on each. There's a lot of functionality here in EQ8. You can also click this arrow to get a larger display, so it's easier to edit, and you can drag that up to make more room if you're doing finer adjustments. In addition, this chart down here will show you the frequency as well as the key that you're currently hovering over. So right now this is editing D or D sharp, and also shows you the decibel. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know what I can do to improve the videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you when we review the next audio effect.